We failed the inspection and we need to redo some very important things in this foundation. To make sure you don't end up in this situation, we're making this video. In this video, I'll show you how to properly install the rebar and avoid making a mistake with the footing level. How to properly lay out all the utilities, plumbing and electrical work and prepare your foundation for pouring. So, why did we fail the inspection? I always say in every video, read the blueprints carefully. The mistake here was specifically in the depth of the footing. When the inspector arrived, he took a tape measure and checked the depth of the footing trench. And it turned out that the trench was not done according to the blueprints. According to the drawing, we have 30 nanometer depth have been made here. 20 inches. This is a mistake. What are the consequences of that? What needs to be fixed in it? We definitely need to remove all the rebar that was almost ready for pouring. We need to dig the trenches deeper and install new rebar belts once more. Again, before you start working, study the blueprints very thoroughly and very carefully. In the previous video, we finished with the forms. There was still dirt, no trenches, no rebar, and no plastic sheeting. Now we will talk about how to properly build the foundation. After the rebar is in place, the first thing you need to do, I would recommend, is to level the ground after the forms are ready. That is to prepare the site, fill the form with soil at one level, that is to plan the land, then comes the next stage. Plumbing. These are plumbers, that is a plumber must come and arrange all these pipes according to the drawings, lay each pipe. Why do you have to do the plumbing step before you dig the trenches for the lining? Because the plumber digs his own trenches. He lays the pipes in specific directions that are convenient for the plumber after he has already installed the pipes. After that, you go through the inspection. This could be a city inspection or it could be a third-party inspection, meaning when a person from an outside company comes in to conduct the inspection. But you definitely need to pass the inspection. Once the inspection is complete, the foundation contractors can come back in and start working on the footings according to the blueprints. What is a footing? These are specific ribs. The foundation slab, meaning the ones that intersect the foundation in different places. These ribs, the engineer places all the places where there are walls, where there are supports, so that the foundation does not crack. When a wall is standing on it, there should be footings. Footings are the support points at the locations of the walls and in the construction sequence. The foundation has one very important, interesting and delicate aspect. For example, if plumbing, you should invite a plumber before it is done, where the trenches for the footing are made. So the plumber lays out his trenches, and for the electrical work, for example, you need to invite the electrician after the rebar is already installed. And these boxes are the outlets in the floor. You install them. After the rebar is laid, he installs the pipes, the rebar, and he already sets up the outlets. According to the layout, after the rebar is laid, in this case, since we're not installing the wire right now, we're installing the gray conduits, in which later the electrician will just pull the cable. The cable is pulled into this conduit. That's why a rounded corner like this is used. So the cable can easily go into one outlet and then into the next. Guys, it's -2 in Austin right now. So like the video, and I'll feel warmer. The electrician also installs the ground, which is the grounding for safety. In one of the spots, he securely connects it to a specific clamp, a contact that extends properly beyond the foundation. And when, in the future, a service panel will hang in this spot, a box with all the breakers. He will connect this copper wire. He will connect it to the service panel, and there will be grounding in your home. It's essential to point out to the electrician where the main cable will enter. There are situations when the cable passes through the foundation and comes out directly into the wall. In this case, you need to lay again a gray conduit of the required diameter for your cable. In our case, we will not run the cable through the foundation. The cable will run along the outside of the foundation and come to the service panel. But grounding is a mandatory requirement, and you must pass the inspection. We have passed the inspection for the electrical part here, and for the plumbing part, we just need to complete the inspection. There are also two stages for plumbing when you're working on the foundation. The first stage is when they come after the forms, mark the area, dig the trenches, and install the sewage and water pipes. The water pipe is installed in places where there is an island and where the main water enters. In this case, you can see it here. Why did I mention two stages? The water stage, not the sewage, is done after the reinforcement is installed. In both stages, you need to pass the inspection with a pressure gauge like this. So, what does this pressure gauge show? It shows the pressure in the pipes. So the pipe is closed on one side and it's closed on this side, and a pressure gauge like this is installed. So it shows that the pipe isn't leaking anywhere. We passed the inspection more than a week ago and noticed that the pressure in the pipe remains. That means the whole system is working. The exact same pressure gauge is installed. For the sewage system, all parts of the pipes are sealed off. And a second pressure gauge is installed on all the protruding pipes on the foundation. The inspector is looking to see that the pipes had pressure and they weren't leaking. It's extremely important, and I want to emphasize this. This pressure gauge will save you thousands and thousands of dollars. If you look at all the pressure gauges on your foundation before pouring, they should all hold pressure. If suddenly the day before pouring, you'll notice that one of the pressure gauges has low pressure or the needle is at zero, call your plumber immediately. And this means that somewhere at the time of installation of the fittings, the pipe and pressure are damaged. It came out. I had such cases. It's a big problem. I stopped pouring concrete and the plumber found a defect, a micro crack, somewhere, which was allowed when installing the reinforcement. If you don't notice this by chance, or if you pour the concrete and you don't have pressure in the pipes, in the future it will leak and it will undermine your foundation. Eventually the house could settle and the foundation could sink or crack. This is a very important issue. So we didn't pass the inspection. It's not a life or death issue. It's solvable. Right now the guys behind me are removing the rebar and digging the trenches deeper. After the trenches are dug deeper, we'll need to put the film back and cover the rebar again and install new rebar footing straps. Another important point before covering with the film, in Texas you need to order some pest treatment. This pest treatment is done for termites to keep them from entering your home from below the ground. It should be done before covering with the film. So once all the footings and trenches are dug, before you cover them with the film and start assembling the rebar, make sure to order it. It's not expensive. This gives you a 10-year guarantee that no insects will penetrate your home and cause damage. Your structural design, and so you went through the street cop, you covered everything with film, you assembled the reinforcement belts. Call an inspector after the inspector has checked that all your reinforcement belts are reinforced and the horizontal grid corresponds to the drawings. You'll pass the inspection and you're ready for the concrete or pour. And this is my favorite moment because everything is behind us and all that's left is to pour the concrete. Usually pouring concrete takes one day. 1 or 2 crews come in depending on the size of the foundation, and about 6 to 8 people, they are finishing up and pouring the concrete. Of course, big foundations like this need to be planned from early in the morning. And the guys will be working until late in the evening in 2 crews, finishing up, doing all the bat leveling and polishing. This is a pretty complicated stage. You need to plan this stage when the weather is good, because if it rains or it's cold, the concrete doesn't set well and it doesn't finish properly. In the rain, it really doesn't work well for finishing, so pick a nice sunny day. After pouring yours, the foundation is almost ready. Why do I say almost? You need to remove the forms and do the backfill in areas where a large amount of soil is adjacent to the foundation. You need to do waterproofing. If you have a foundation on a slope, check out our video about that, but in this case the foundation is flat. It's a straight foundation. We'll just do the backfill and that will be enough. Now I'll tell you how much time this stage takes and what percentage it represents. When we set up the forms for the foundation, that's about 20–30% of the work. This stage includes footing, rebar, plumbing, electrical work, plastic, pest treatment, pouring, removing the forms, and backfilling. It takes up 70–80% of your efforts. And in terms of time, it again depends on the foundation. It depends on the weather conditions and the number of people working on the foundation. But on average, we can say that this stage takes about a month. So you spend about a month preparing your foundation for pouring. If you have a simple straight foundation, the approximate cost of work for such a simple slab foundation with a height, the walls of the exterior footing should be no more than 3 feet. That's an important point, up to 3 feet. This is considered a slab, so the price for such a slab will be about 18 per square foot. If the height of the exterior footing increases, meaning the part of the foundation that you see from the outside, it will be 4 to 5. 4 or 6 feet will definitely add to your costs. It won't cost as much. No, not that much. Money, as I said, $18 can cost you an additional $10,000 to $20,000 just for the height. So, when you buy a plot of land, you always think about what level it will be, your foundation, because every foot of height adds to your costs. We are currently in the garage. When the rebar is ready, you need to do one more important operation for your garage. Since the floor in the garage must have a slope according to the requirements, this is to ensure that gases can escape from the garage in case the car is running. You see, if we look at this board, it has different thicknesses. Here it is 5 inches, and on that side it practically goes down to 0. This is done so that when the guys are pouring the garage floors, they will create a slope towards the doors. Another important detail in the garage is preparing the threshold. You see, the doors will close here between the 2 garage doors. We have a post, it's right here. So this board is installed for that purpose, so that in this place the garage doors go onto a certain drop. There is a drop in level here, that is, the garage level will be here, and here it will be 1.5 inches lower, and then the doors fit into this lower level. And when water from the street, heavy rain or a flow of water comes, the step prevents water from entering the garage. This is done specifically and professionally so that the doors block water from entering the garage. Pay attention to this. Professionals know how to do it, but it's a very important point. I, in my first project, didn't know about this. We forgot to do this. Then, there would be a piece of concrete so that the doors could fit in. This is an important point. Outside the house, these are the garage doors, meaning the entrance, the entry into the house, the weight of the car will be here in the garage. The gates should close, there will be a driveway, and the driveway with the gates connects to the garage. The floor is 1.5 inches lower, and when the doors close, they fit into the level of the driveway outside, so water doesn't get inside the house. Good luck with pouring your concrete slab.